Chapter 16. I Am the Affair, Baby. That's right, the living, breathing reminder of every scandalous headline and whispered judgment. Autumn comes around. It was time for Andrew's father, Joseph Williams, to celebrate his 55th birthday. The banquet was held at Colivore Pavilion, a beautiful garden-style hotel. The guest list was small, just family and close friends. Even Ezra had flown back from abroad for the occasion. My father brought me along, and I knew exactly why. He was growing impatient. After all, Andrew and I had been dating for quite some time without any concrete steps forward. Nova desperately needed the Williams family's support. Officially, I was attending as the daughter of a business partner, not as Andrew's girlfriend, but I couldn't help feeling excited at the chance to meet his parents. At the banquet, I was everything you'd expect from the ideal daughter-in-law in their eyes: poised, polite, and charming. I earned one compliment after another from Andrew's parents. His mother was so taken with me that she held my hand and declared herself as my godmother. Standing nearby, Ezra rolled his eyes, clearly unimpressed. The evening was going smoothly until Andrew stepped away to take a phone call. When he returned, his face was tense, his expression strange. I moved closer and whispered, "What's wrong?" Frowning, he replied, "There's a woman on the phone claiming to be your mother. She says she's outside and wants to meet her future son-in-law." My stomach sank. This had to be Delilah's handiwork. Even while scrambling to deal with Amanda, she still found time to stir up trouble for me. Hearing us, Ezra came over. When he learned what was going on, he shrugged and said casually, "If she's here, let her in. She's your mom. After all, it's a chance for the families to meet." Clearly, he had no idea what he was suggesting. I glanced at Andrew, who looked away, his brows furrowed. I had warned him about my mother before, so I understood the worry etched across his face. "I'll handle it," I said quickly, heading toward the door. But before I could reach it, my mother's booming voice filled the banquet hall. "Oh, I'm so late for the in-laws' big birthday celebration. My bad. My bad. I owe everyone an apology." Heads turned as she strutted in, her voice echoing like a megaphone. Dressed in a tight pink dress that clung to her figure like it was painted on, with big curls, oversized hoop earrings, and a flashy designer handbag, she looked like a walking spectacle. The room went silent. Guests exchanged bewildered glances, unsure of what to make of her entrance. My father's face turned dark as a storm cloud. I rushed over to her, grabbing her arm. Keeping my voice steady, I said, "Let's go home, Mom." She shook me off with a dramatic flourish. "Go home? Are you kidding? I'm here to celebrate my in-law's birthday and meet my future son-in-law." With that, she pulled out a gift box wrapped in gaudy, glittering paper. She marched up to Joseph Williams, seated at the head of the table, and placed the box down in front of him with a flourish. "You must be the in-law. Look at you, so distinguished. Wishing you plenty of health, happiness, and lots of chubby grandkids soon." Joseph's face hardened, and he turned his icy gaze toward Andrew. Andrew lowered his head, stepping back silently. Stepping in to salvage the situation, Ezra picked up the gift box with a polite smile. "I'll accept this on behalf of my family," he said smoothly. My mother turned to him, her eyes lighting up like fireworks. "You must be Andrew. Such a handsome young man. My daughter has excellent taste. Here, I have something for you too," she said, rummaging in her handbag and pulling out a smaller gift, shoving it into Ezra's hands. "No need to be shy. We're all family now." Ezra smiled awkwardly, scratching his nose. Under everyone's watchful eyes, he had no choice but to take it. Eventually, my father managed to drag her out of the banquet hallway. As for me, I followed her out without sparing Andrew a single glance. For the next week, Andrew didn't contact me, and I didn't reach out to him either. In the adult world, silence often says more than words. One evening after work, as I left the office, I spotted Ezra waiting outside. "Do you have time to talk?" he asked. We ended up at a small cafe nearby. He ordered coffee, took a sip, and immediately grimaced. "This is the worst coffee I've ever tasted." I crossed my arms. "You didn't come here to complain about coffee, did you?" He set a thick notebook on the table. "Andrew asked me to return this to you." I stared at it. It was the notebook I'd given Andrew when we first started dating, filled with notes about his likes, dislikes, and everything I'd learned about him. Andrew's been struggling, Ezra said, his tone measured. My brother and sister-in-law have been putting a lot of pressure on him. You understand, don't you? Love isn't always enough, I said calmly. With my background, my family, and my mother, I was never going to be good enough for your family. And Andrew wasn't ready to fight for me. Ezra seemed surprised by my candor. He shook his head. It's not that you're not good enough. I've just always felt the two of you weren't a good match. I laughed softly. You don't need to sugarcoat it. I know my worth, and I won't let your family's rejection make me doubt myself. It's not me who doesn't measure up. It's my family and the baggage that comes with it. That scene my mother caused at the banquet? I know it was embarrassing for everyone. I've known who she is my whole life. Ever since she gave up on my father, she spent most of her life at gambling tables, never coming home unless she was completely broke. When she ran out of money, she'd throw me out and make me beg my father for more. I've been nothing more than a tool to her. The only reason she probably didn't abandon me was because she needed me as leverage. He listened in silence, then sighed after a moment. Honestly, I'm starting to think it's my nephew who doesn't deserve you. Whether he does or doesn't matter anymore, I said, standing to leave. What about the notebook? He asked. Throw it away from me, I said, walking out the door. Even so, I couldn't help but feel hurt. I had loved him after all, and yet he didn't even have the courage to say goodbye in person. The autumn wind bit at my cheeks as I pulled my coat tighter. The streets were bustling with people hurrying home, their faces a blur as they passed me. Andrew and I were like passengers on a train. Our paths crossed for a while, but ultimately we were headed in different directions. To be honest, I knew it was over the moment my mother walked into that banquet. Maybe Andrew did love me, but he wasn't ready to face the challenges that came with it.
Sunrise,